Good morning. Why are our thoughts so important? Well, this is the subject of mental health practitioners all over the world, and it's the experience of our own lives that our thoughts guide us in our way of relating to each other and to the world. And, here's an interesting thought process. Just listen to this series of sentences. Johnny hated going to school. The children were very mean to him and often called him names. Why did he get this job as a security guard? So, if you were paying attention to your own process, you noticed that as those sentences rolled out, and then the last sentence changed the whole picture. Um, Thoughts are like that all the time, the inner commentary of our mind is changing the relationship of one thing to another. And those relationships really define how we experience life. I was thinking of a Beatles lyric this morning, which is a John Lennon lyric. Of course, the darkest lyrics, John. And I was trying to think of how to share this perspective that our thinking mind has such power to tell us how one thing relates to another, and then to set us up in our orientation to life, and to kind of tell us what we need to do, where we're at, what's going on. So the lyric is, I'm a loser and I'm not what I appear to be. And if we just sit with that for a moment and break it down, okay, so that's me, am a loser. What does that conjure up? Well, there's these people that we would call losers, and I don't want to be one of them. Not desirable, but I am a loser. And I'm not what I appear to be. So, what I appear to be is another thing, and I'm not that. Interesting lyrics coming from, at the time, a very famous and successful young musician who was experiencing the admiration of the world. And this is the nature of the mind. It's always categorizing self, others, and even things and events. And it colors our experience. I am a loser. We just sit with that. What does that do to us? And so our thinking mind is always making comparisons, always relating things, and always categorizing, telling us where we are, who we are, what we're about. It's just waiting to hear. What? Even if you try this little experiment, like if you start a sentence and don't complete it, you'll notice inside the part of you that's waiting for those words to complete the sentence. And we've already kind of primed the pump with this one, so maybe let's switch it up a little bit. You are a Do you notice that aspect of you now? If you really are taking me seriously and you're looking me in the eye and I'm saying you are a, you can even hear in my tone maybe where I'm going. There's a part of me that's got to know. What are you thinking about me? Where are you putting me? What category am I in? And so these thought processes have a lot of power, and as soon as they start, we get interested and we're engaged and we're waiting to know. And then once it's complete, it isn't done there. So if I say, I am a loser, there might be another thought that comes up and says, no, I'm not. Now what's going on? Are there two of me in there? No, there's a battle of thought. And so maybe the other side says, well, prove it. Why aren't you a loser? Now I have to reach for other things to get me into the right category that feels better. Well, I'm not a loser because I got up this morning and I'm meditating. It's kind of a flimsy argument, but it's basically saying losers never meditate, um, or all losers don't do that. So our mind, like these thought processes, are really, when you really pay attention, they're kind of simplistic, and there's lots of labels and categories and a lot of jostling around. And there's a part of us that's just waiting to know. Like, tell me, what am I? And it can be exhausting. So this just like, we're looking at just a simple one single thought, but in the course of a day, how many thousands of categorizing, labeling thoughts does my mind give me? And how much do I get hooked, anxious, stressed, need to know, figure it out? I've got to figure it out. Why would I say that to myself? Well, that's a whole nother rabbit hole of thought. Why would I say to myself, I'm a loser? Just exhausting. So mindfulness practice maybe teaches us that if I could get into a tug of war with my thoughts, battling for territory in my life, to be myself, to know how to live, um, my thought mind will just hand me thoughts, and then as soon as I grab them, I'm in that tug of war. You can kind of feel what that's like when you're wrestling with a thought, a negative thought, a critical thought, a judgmental thought, a labeling thought. And in mindfulness practice, maybe if we sit still, spend time in quiet, become the observer, like really practice observing and noticing, we might eventually experience something different, which is, wow, I'm not my thoughts. Or as sky, and my thoughts are little patches of weather that pass through. Myself is the sky. My being is this big expansive space, and my thoughts are patches of weather. Now, those patches of weather might have energy in them, but they aren't the same as the sky, and they come and go. And one thing that I know to be true, and this is really at the heart of almost all therapy, is that my thoughts, especially the negative, sticky ones, the ones that grab me and that I get into an engagement with, oftentimes gain their power from me and the wrestling I do with them. So if I'm in that place of observing, sometimes what we experience is, wow, my thoughts are just not as intense and not as, oh, well, it's because, you know, I didn't start that battle. It came and it went, the thought, I'm a loser. Interesting. That would be, now the thought is gone because I'm not really as concerned about it. I'm kind of settling into a different aspect of me, which isn't that thought. And so today we're just going to do a brief meditation on observing thoughts. The aim of this meditation is to cultivate an experience of noticing thoughts as events that are independent of me, that in some ways aren't really that important. They don't need my attention, and I don't need to straighten them out all the time. I can just kind of let. Now, for some people, this is incredibly scary because they're so used to wrestling with thoughts. I mean, I've definitely been there where negative thoughts is just like, please don't let my mind think that anymore. It hurts too much. It's too engaging. I can't resist it. It comes into me and then it's just automatic. And then we call these invasive thoughts, intrusive thoughts, powerfully felt, automatically believable, even though they're deeply irrational. Thoughts that intrude on my consciousness. Well, I don't want to encourage anybody to live that way, but that's kind of how we are. Our tendencies are to maybe even be victimized by our own thinking mind. It's really sad. Look at people. People are always talking to themselves in there. What are they saying to themselves? And how much is that grabbing hold of them? How much is that happening to me? And the aim of this meditation is to loosen that up a little bit, to make room for the thinking mind to just do what it does without needing to wrestle with it, just letting it kind of go past. The metaphor might be if my thoughts are like a stream, the stream of thought, stream of consciousness, I could sit on the bank and just watch it go by. And just notice how one thought follows another. Sometimes when we do that, everything gets quiet because we don't realize how many of our thoughts come from kind of like almost like imagine a cue ball hitting a group of pool balls on a pool table. The cue ball is a single thought, and then the mind just populates with. When we sit and observe, it's almost like a cue ball that goes down and there's nothing on the table to bump up against. It just kind of goes past. So that's what this meditation is meant to cultivate, is some space. Let's just hold that for a moment before we meditate. Just imagine that there's space in your consciousness for thoughts to come and go. And for your own thoughts to not even be that important all the time. Especially the thoughts that just rudely categorize me and others and even events. Like, the weather is horrible. Psh, it's weather. It has all these different aspects, and it's like it does what it does, and it's worked pretty well for like millions and billions of years. And, but we're standing here saying it's just horrible. Well, okay. Those thoughts come, It's not wrong to think that, because that would be another thought. Well, I'm wrong for thinking that. Well, now I'm okay. I'm a loser. It just gets so complex. So I'm going to be quiet and meditate now that I've stirred all that up. But just imagine a space for you to just notice thoughts coming and going. So as you sit in this meditation, what do you notice first? Is it your feet on the floor? Is it your breath? Is it the sense of the ground beneath you? Before we try to direct our awareness, what if you just let yourself notice whatever? And now becoming a little more intentional about awareness. You could notice the sense of the ground beneath you, especially the places where your body touches, and you feel that gravity connecting you to where you are on your seat and through your feet. And you can bring the intention for your awareness to stay within yourself, within your actual physically present self during this meditation. And so you can become aware of your body. This is where you live all the time. So seeing if it's possible to notice the feet and the legs all at once, holding them in awareness. Noticing any and all sensations that come to you, and then adding your hips and pelvis and torso, so that your chest and your belly, your back, side of your torso, shoulder blades, the spine, you can kind of feel it in there, maybe. Your shoulders. And then adding your arms and your hands. And for a moment, pausing and holding all of the awareness that's coming to you from every part of your body below your neck. And then completing the process by adding your neck and throat, jaw, sides of your head and ears, your face. So much going on there, maybe. Lips, nose, cheeks, eyes, brow. And the whole of your scalp. And bringing attention, if you're breathing through your nose or your mouth, to the sensations of breath coming and leaving your body, coming into and leaving your body. And noticing how your belly expanding and contracting goes together with that sensation of breath leaving your body and rushing in as your belly expands. So just noticing the rise and fall of your abdomen and chest. And then settling your awareness to hold your whole body and your breath. A diverse set of sensations that has a unity. It's me here right now. All the sensations coming. And just for a while, opening up to body and breath and staying with that as best you can. Bringing yourself back as often as you need. This is the foundation of all your practice, body and breath. And during this meditation, if any part of it gets too complex, if you're lost in it, just come back to body and breath, even staying there if you wish, and ignoring the rest of my words. And then when you're ready, if you wish, gathering your attention and bringing it into your ears to notice all of the sensations of sound that are coming to you. Seeing if it's possible to zoom right in on the experience of receiving sound. Noticing sounds as events that appear and disappear on their own without your involvement. Your aim to experience the actual sound with less focus on the label for the sound that spontaneously appears in thought. Just staying with the actual sound, listening with curiosity. There's sounds that stand out and sounds that fade into the background, some small, some large and prominent. And then continuing to listen, but directing that elsewhere, which is to receive the experience of the thinking mind that may be generating thoughts, and seeing if it's possible to just notice thoughts as events that happen all on their own. If you find yourself clinging to a thought, see what it's like just to let it go, let it be. Just receiving and letting go. My mind is the sky. Thoughts are weather passing through. And you may even notice that some thoughts create a response inside. So just even noticing that as an event, as part of the thought, letting that come and go. And then returning as we wind up this little bit of time, returning to body and breath, and checking in with awareness of any space that exists within me for thoughts to occur as events, for me to hold that in a noticing way, less attached, less reactive, more room slowing down. And then taking a moment to appreciate that you just gave yourself the gift of some awareness. And it's really essential awareness, which is to not be enslaved by your own thoughts. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Did want to let people know that, my name is Mark McGonigal. I know that most of you who are watching know that. Um, and I've been offering these brief meditations during pandemic. And just these simple practices can really go a long way to getting us through times where we have to be super flexible, willing to bend and shape our lives in new ways. And it's been a real gift for me to be able to show up here. And I can't see you, but I know you're there, and it's great to be connected. So take care, and we'll see you further down the road. Bye.